What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Brandon Lester Fishing right here. You know, I dropped that video the other day talking about buzzbait fishing, showed you some cool topwater bites. We caught a few bass, and I thought it'd be pretty neat. I'm out here in my shop today. I'm getting ready. I'm gonna go fishing the next couple days just for fun and probably shoot another, try to shoot another YouTube video or two while I'm out there. But I thought it'd be cool while I'm out here in the shop if I took my buzzbait bag, got a few of my buzzbaits out that I like, and went through kind of what I look for in a buzzbait, what I throw the most often, because I feel like there's a world of buzzbaits out there. And this is something that I've put a lot of time into over the past, I'd say 5 years or so. You know, I throw a lot of, and I feel like I should say this too. My opinion on buzzbaits is very unbiased. You won't hear anything about sponsors in this. I don't have a buzzbait spinnerbait sponsor, don't have a soft plastic sponsor. So everything I say is going to be completely unbiased. So keep that in mind. You know, I'm not trying to disregard anything anybody else says. I'm just saying what I'm telling you is complete honesty and what I've found over the past few years of fishing with these baits. So let's just dive into it. I want to talk about blade color. I want to talk about size of the buzzbait. You know, all that. There's a lot of different ones out there, and they all have their applications where they shine. So that's what I want to talk about. I want to try to teach you guys a little bit about when to pick which one. So let's look at the one that I was using the other day, basically the one I was using the other day in the video that I dropped on Tim's Ford. Where we caught a few. Like I said, this is the Accent Jacob Wheeler buzzbait, and it's my favorite one. You know, as far as just a straight up buzzbait goes, it's my favorite one. A few years ago, I started out, when I first started throwing buzzbaits a lot, I threw a lunker lure for a while. And lunker lure has long been known as a great buzzbait maker, and it is a great buzzbait maker. But I really believe a lot of what makes a good buzzbait great is that squeal. You know, and I hope you guys can hear that in the camera. This is straight out of the package. This particular, the Accent buzzbait, it has some kind of a finish, and I'm not familiar with what it is. I just know it works. But there's some kind of a finish on this blade. It's almost like it's anodized or something like that. And it makes it squeal a lot louder. And I'm totally 100% convinced that'll absolutely get you more bites. I really do believe that. I like the size of this buzzbait. It comes 5/16 of an ounce. I do trim the head down on it just a little bit so I can slide that toad up on there. But this is the one that I use. I would say 80% of my buzzbait fishing is with this one right here, with either a gold blade or a silver blade. Now, while I bring that up, I'll go ahead and talk about blade color a little bit. So I keep it pretty simple. I do know guys, and I have known guys that throw like colored blades on a buzzbait, like a chartreuse blade or a black blade or a white blade. The only time where I can think of that I would throw a white blade on a buzzbait is during the shad spawn. I think that would be good. I've never tried it, I'll be honest, but I think that'd be a good time to do it. All of my buzzbait fishing right now is either with a silver blade or a gold blade. I just keep it simple. And here's how I determine which one I'm gonna pick. If the fish are feeding on bluegill, I usually pick a gold blade. If the fish are feeding on shad, I usually pick a silver blade. It just makes sense to me. That's what works for me, so that's what I do. Now let's talk about a quiet buzzbait, or one that just squeals. When you choose one like that, or a buzzbait like these two, which make a lot of noise. So there's buzzbaits that have what's called a clacker. This big buzzbait, I don't even really know. I think maybe D&M Tackle is the one that made this buzzbait, I believe. But it's got a piece of brass hanging from the actual wire that goes out to the blade. And every time that blade spins, it hits that piece of brass, and it's loud. I mean, it's louder than a whopper plopper. It's really loud when it comes through the water. And this is actually the Tackle HD Worldwide, the James Watson buzzbait. Been playing around with it a little bit this year. I actually caught a few fish at Neely Henry this year. No, Maybe it was Pickwick. Yeah, it was Neely Henry. Caught a few at Neely Henry on this bait this year, but it's actually designed so when the blade rotates, it actually hits the head. You can actually see right there where the blade's been hitting the head. And you kind of have to, you can tune it either way. You can tune it so it doesn't hit the head, but it's made and it's designed so when that blade turns, it hits that head and it makes a clicking sound, a clunk, 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 clunk. And it's pretty darn loud. I mean, you know, and going back further than this right here, actually the first company to ever do this, to my knowledge, is a company called Boogerman. You hear a lot of, if you fish buzzbaits very long, you've heard of the old Boogerman buzzbaits. Very popular in my part of the country, Gunnersville, places like that. So let's talk about when I throw these buzzbaits. Obviously, the number one reason I would pick up a clacking style buzzbait is when it's really, really windy. If I've got some chop on the water, that's when I want a clacker versus just a squealer. You know, I've had days, matter of fact, I can think of a day last year on Tim's Ford when I was fishing and the wind kicked up. I'd been throwing the Jacob Wheeler buzzer all day, the accent buzzbait, just like what you saw in the video the other day. And the wind kicked up and I got in a place where there was a real good ripple on the water. So I picked this buzzbait right here up. It's got a bigger blade, and like I said, it makes a lot of racket. I thread a toad up on this one just like I do the other one. And I ended up catching a couple of pretty good fish on this clacking buzzbait, even in that clear water. Another situation where I would pick up one of these clacking style buzzbaits is in dirty water. I have found that definitely in dirty water, more noise, and it just makes sense, more noise will definitely get you some more bites when you're in dirty water, off-colored water. Now, I'll also say this, I do believe that a clacking style buzzbait will kind of deter fish and run fish off when you're in clear water and it's just dead still calm. I've experimented with these, and I'm telling you guys, when it's calm and it's clear water situations and you're just kind of going down the bank and everything's kind of quiet, that normal buzzbait without the clacker is a lot better. One more situation where I use these a good bit is this, if I'm fishing over submerged grass. Say there's some hydrilla or milfoil under the surface that's not quite topped out and I can still throw a buzzbait efficiently. I feel like you need this clacker a little bit to kind of call those fish up out of that grass. These baits will definitely call fish from a further distance away if you need that. So, you know, just kind of keep that in mind. Now let's talk about sizes of buzzbaits, because I mean they make them all the way down to an 1/8 ounce. That's a Strike King 1/8 ounce buzzbait. That can be deadly at times. I've known guys that have caught some big bags of fish on my home water with that little bitty buzzbait. When fish are keyed in on little bitty baits, throw that thing, you'll catch some fish. And it can be hard to throw it on bait casting equipment. I mean, it's so small. I even know guys that throw it on a spinning rod, but it can be deadly. You know, and then you've got, so in that accent buzzbait that I've been talking about, there's a regular size version and there's a finesse version. Now, I carry both. Normally, I throw the regular version. The only time I pick up this finesse version is when I go to, well, not the only time, but most of the time, when I pick up this finesse version is when we go to a tidal fishery. The Sabine River comes to mind. I've had some pretty good success at the Sabine River throwing it's still a full-size frame buzzbait. It's a little bit smaller, but that blade's a little bit smaller. It doesn't make quite as big a commotion. It's not as invasive. So when you need to tone it down just a little bit, go to that little bit smaller blade, and it'll absolutely get you some more bites for sure. Let's talk about baits that I run on them. You know, this is one that I've got a toad threaded up on. That's a Zoom Horny toad. Guys, I almost never throw a skirt on my buzzbait anymore. I know some guys do, and I feel like this whole toad thing, it's kind of the craze anymore, and they see a lot of them, I know, but they just eat the bait so much better when you put that toad on there. So that's what I do, I'd say majority of the time. I've also caught them threading a skinny dipper, a Reaction Innovation skinny dipper. I've caught them good threading that up on there. Actually caught them good at Gunnersville last fall on that. So, you know, and even on that smaller size buzzbait, you could go down to maybe like a little dipper size, you know, or on this little dude right here, you could even put like a 2.8 Kitech on there, you know, or something like that. So just, there's a lot of different things that you can do. Swim baits, tows, there's different creature baits. A Zoom Z-Crawl, that's a good little buzzbait trailer. You know, I've played around with a lot of different things, but hopefully that clears up some of your guys' questions. I've got a whole bag full. This is a must-add bag right here. This is full of buzzbaits. I have, you know, that's what I like to do when I'm not on the road, when I'm not out fishing a tournament somewhere. I like to play with different baits and try to come up with things that maybe my competitors don't know about quite yet, or, you know, something a little bit different. Anytime you can have something a little bit different, use it to your advantage. But hopefully this clears up a little bit of any confusion you might have, any questions you might have. If you have any more questions, drop them in the comments. I'll be glad to do my best to try to answer them. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Appreciate you watching. Please subscribe, share it with your buddies. I'll see y'all next time right here, Brandon Lester Fishing.